In episode 16, What's It Like to Work with Encore Empire, we pulled back the curtain on our program and process to give you insight into what it's like to work with us. We understand that investing in yourself and your business is a big commitment, and we want to give you information that will help you make the right decision for you. In this episode, we're looking at what happens after you've invested in a coach or a coaching program. We want to highlight what you need to do in order to ensure that you get your return on investment of both time and money when you enter into a coaching relationship.
That's right. And no matter who you work with, we've determined there are some success factors. And this is based on our experience with working with our own clients and what we've experienced in working with coaches that we have hired and invested with. So the first one that I can think of is that you have to be all in. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you think about it, you're investing both your time and money, and you want to make sure you're getting a return on investment on both. Now, this requires time blocked on your calendar. And it's not just to show up to calls, because, in a one-on-one setting, typically the way we do it and the way most coaches we know do it is you have these appointments set up. And so you don't want to just show up for the call. You're racing around ahead of time and you get onto Zoom 30 seconds before it starts. You really want to make the most of these calls. They're really, really important. And not only just showing up, but it's actually implementing the action steps and spending time learning and mastering new skills. So what does that look like? So if you just say, okay, I'm going to make all my calls, and they're all on the calendar, but then you don't prepare for the call. Number one, this is something that we see happen sometimes is, you're just racing from thing to thing, but really this call is where it's there for you. It's for you to get exactly what you need from the expert. And you need to really, be productive during that time. You don't want to be spending the first 5 or 10 minutes, trying to figure out what you want to talk about, in other words, right? So be prepared and know what it is that you want to accomplish on that call. And then it's no good to just have a great call, but then you don't implement. And, I know when Carmen, I know you've had the same thing. We get on with clients and they're like, okay, so let's talk about your progress from the last time. And they're like, well, I didn't get to this and I didn't get to that. And I didn't really have time for this. And we understand sometimes things come up, but think about if you just keep delaying and pushing off the action steps you need to take or learning the skills from the material that you've been given, then in essence, you're cutting your entire program in a third or half, right? You're only getting half the value if you just keep kicking the can down the road, right? So you really want to make sure that you are all in and that you are like this is your main thing that you're going to be doing during the time so that you can get the most out of it. So quick tip on how to make sure that this is going to happen is, mark your calendar, not just for those calls, but for the entire time that you are in the program. Now, our program is 9 months. So, you can just kind of put a note saying, during these 9 months, we like to call it a season of focus. Right. So this is what you're focused on. And it doesn't mean you can't do, other things. I mean, you're working on your business no matter what, but it's just to make you aware that this is really one of your top priorities for your business. It's too easy to slip into the day-to-day habits that don't support your progress or commitment unless you intentionally set some boundaries around your commitment for yourself and for your loved ones. And in fact, what we have found is that this is the very reason why our clients come to us and they're kind of all over the place, right? They don't have it together. That's why they come and work with us. And that's part of what we help them do is we help them set those boundaries that they either set and they got moved all over the place or they never really knew how to set them to begin with, because as your business grows, so does the level of focus and strategy that you need. And so you might start off great, but you will get to a point where it feels like everything's out of control or you're just not sure what to do next. And so that's where this kind of coaching really comes into play.
That's right. Success factor number 2 is follow the program advice and direction as prescribed. This is such a big one. So we work with new entrepreneurs and seasoned entrepreneurs with all types of businesses. And, they just started their business and some have been in business for 30 years. And some of the principles that we teach, because we teach foundational business strategy, these principles are not brand new to people. However, the way that we teach them may be, we have a process, right? We have a proprietary process. And if you go into something and say, well, I already learned that over at Susie's course over there, I don't have to work on that. Or I'm already an expert at that, I don't have to do that. You are, again, you're cutting your efficiency or your effectiveness and your success quotient in half or in thirds. So it's one thing to be willy-nilly about things and not really show up to your appointments and show up late and not be prepared. And then the other step to add on to it where this can completely derail you is then going, well, I already know that, or I don't need that, or I learned that before. We don't want to do that. You just invested money with this professional to help you get unstuck. And if that professional deems that you need to go through something, go through it. This is you giving yourself over to the process so that you can get unstuck. So you're most likely going to be also pushed outside of your comfort zone. And a lot of times it's that resistance that makes us be, kind of haphazard about our day. We're trying to avoid something. So we don't come to the meeting prepared, or we don't do this, or we don't do that because it's like, well, that makes me feel uncomfortable to jump out of my comfort zone like that. But you've got to, again, you invested in this and you need to also, of course, a coach can give you accountability, but you have to be accountable to yourself and your own investment, So do what's asked and follow the process that the coach is teaching you. If you pick and choose what you will or will not do or how you're going to do it, ignoring the process that's outlined for you and doing it the way you've always done it, then it's like baking a cake with half the ingredients. You're only going to get some success doing that. So why would you do that? Why would you pay someone else to ignore what they're telling you? It makes zero sense. And this happens often. So I want to refer you back up to success factor number 1, which was you have to be all in every step of this whole entire process when you're making a commitment like this.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And, it's great to be reminded of that, Carmen, because no one goes in with the intention of going, I'm only going to listen to half of what they say.
Right.
We're like, yeah, in the beginning, right? You're like, yes, yes, yes. But then it's that thing, it's that attrition where you kind of lose it. So that's a great reminder. Now, another success factor is communicating with your coach and building a relationship of trust. Now, your coach can only help you to the extent that they know what's going on in your business. Now, this may or may not, we're not going to get into, having trust issues. That's not really what this is about. What this is about is it's about having that regular communication. And, if you hold back out of fear, there could be a couple of reasons why you may not be communicating. And this is a good time, if you are working with a coach or thinking about working with a coach, is to really, assess your readiness for this open communication line that you have to maintain. We sometimes hold back out of fear. It's like going to the principal's office, right? Or going in front of the teacher. And we've actually heard clients say this. They're like, I did my work because I knew I didn't want to get in trouble. And so, sometimes fear is a good thing, right? I mean, a little bit of it could be the nudge we need and get us to do the thing that we need to do. But if you have a fear where you're holding back because you're afraid to tell them, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, then it's not going to be as effective. Like, I know when we're working with our clients, we say we're working as your silent business partner. That's really what it's like, because we are working on your business with you as if it's our own. And in any business, like Carmen and I are a partnership, like our business depends on us being able to communicate clearly transparently and regularly. And so, even if you don't have trouble with, maybe you're not holding back, but maybe you just don't check in regularly, right? Like you get so busy and involved in what you're doing that, you're just kind of waiting for that coaching call. Now, we can't speak for every single coaching program or coaching consultant out there on how they set up communication. The way we've set it up is we provide ongoing communication tools on a private chat platform. So we are available all the time. And we encourage our clients to reach out to us because when you're in the day-to-day, in between those calls, you can get stuck. Right. And if you have someone working on your team as your silent business partner, there's no reason to be stuck. That's what they're there for. So don't hesitate to reach out or, don't feel like you're bothering your coach. I mean, that's what we're there for. We are, especially here at Encore Empire, our whole goal is to make sure you are never stuck. You're never alone. You are never stuck with anything. And so even if it's like, I've had a really rough start to my day and I just can't wrap my head around what I'm supposed to be doing. Like we're there to encourage, right? So, your coach can and should be your ally in your business, but it only happens if you open up to them and you allow them to be.
That's right. So success factor number 4 goes back to what Deirdre kind of started talking about earlier, which is be prepared for meetings. This is just so important. When you have regular coaching sessions, those coaching sessions should be used as efficiently as possible to get as much done as far as strategy and discussing things that are on your mind or things that aren't working or looking at KPIs and data to see what has gone on and is it time to check in? Is it time to tweak something? This is where your coach is getting in there with you, or at least this is how we work with our clients. We get in there with our clients and we talk about what did you accomplish the action steps that we set out before? And Deirdre kind of mentioned that sometimes people come and they're like, well, I didn't really get to that. I didn't get to that. But here's the thing. The sessions are supposed to be like a real deep dive into what's going on. And then in between the sessions is when you do the work. So if you didn't do the work in between the sessions and you're coming to the session and you're pretty much just back at the same place you were at the end of the last session, well, you've again just cost yourself time and ROI on your money because now you've just delayed yourself again. Like Deirdre talked about, kicking, your success down the road. And this does happen because of fear. It happens because of so many things. And that's one of the reasons why we focus on mindset so strongly at Encore Empire, because we see it and we can recognize that we can call people out on it. That's really important. But basically, be prepared for meetings means make sure your tech works. Make sure you've turned on your computer. Make sure you can get on Zoom or whatever channel you're using. Make sure that if there's progress reports, we have our clients send progress reports in so that we always know what's top of mind for them and what they've been working on. And so make sure that you are in an area free of distractions. If you're somewhere noisy and you're trying to do this while you're at your child's baseball game or something else, you're diluting your impact and your ability to get the ROI from your program. So make sure that you set yourself up. Part of the whole coaching program, at least for us, is getting our clients to understand how to work and act like a CEO. And that means setting yourself up and getting the most out of it and learning how to get ROI and doing the things that might seem hard at first that pretty soon aren't hard at all, because once you do them, just like with anything else, it just becomes part of your day-to-day.
Yeah. And so the last success factor we want to talk about here, and this kind of sums up the first 4 things we talked about. Like this is really, if you take one thing away or remember one thing from this episode, this is the one. Okay, so make a note of this. And I want you to write this on a sticky note. And it can be summed up in 2 words. That's be coachable. So what exactly does that mean? Be coachable. Well, all those success factors we talked about, that is part of this, right? That this kind of sums it all up. And those are aspects of being coachable. What it boils down to is it takes intention, it takes preparation and commitment. And it also takes the willingness to do the work to be able to achieve a transformation. If you think about it, we all talk about, what's the transformation? Here's what you want to achieve. And it's all great when we're talking vision and goals and we're all excited about it. But there is a difference between just hoping you get something and wishing for it and being determined to get it. And you really, in the space of being an entrepreneur, and if you're really wanting to make an impact in your life and the lives of others, and you want that the profits, the revenue that you're going to need to make the impact, then it takes a very serious commitment on your part. So it's, they always say entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, and it is so true. And your success depends on more than your coach. A lot of times we buy a solution and think that's all we have to do, right? And, the fact that we spent the money automatically means it should all be fine now. But that's not what this is. People don't really realize this, or, they sometimes ignore the fact that the success really depends on you. Your coach is there to support you, provide accountability, to give you the tools that you need, the information you need. And in our case, we build the strategy you need because, you don't know what you don't know. And if you're not a business strategy coach like we are, the business of business may not be your expertise. It probably isn't. And that's fine because you're an expert at what you do. But you can't, all of that put together, you can get into the greatest, most supportive program in the entire world. But if you aren't willing to take on the responsibility for your own success, then it isn't going to work for you. Now, any endeavor that creates a transformation, it requires grit, determination, and a winning mindset. More importantly, it requires an open mind to being coachable and to being stretched outside of your comfort zone. So when we say be coachable, it is those 4 factors we first talked about, but it really boils down to how bad do you want it? Do you want it badly enough to commit to doing it and then to investing in the help you need to get you there?
Yeah, as with anything, your coach can provide education, accountability, and support, but all of those things won't create success unless you have the commitment. So it's also very possible to purchase a program, go through the entire thing, and get 0 results. The results come from implementing the required work. We don't want that to be you, right? That's what this whole episode is about. We're trying to help you get prepared and understand that it requires you to be open-minded. It requires you to be able to have the mindset of, I will do whatever it takes to get me over this hurdle that I'm facing right now. Because when we go for coaching, typically we're trying to achieve a new goal, cross a new hurdle, get somewhere that we can't seem to get on our own. So you have to be willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. Now, and one reason we are so passionate about empowering women in business is that we see the incredible results and growth that our clients achieve every single day. And that's where this episode comes from. It comes from our experience working with them. We know what works and we know what kind of mindset that is required. And when we see all these success factors put together in our clients, it is absolutely amazing. I mean, Carmen and I are blown away every single day at the incredible transformation, and not just like at the end of the 9 months, but these transformations happen like from week to week and month to month. It's amazing. And I think the reason is that the women that we're working with, they've been working really, really hard on growing their business, often for years. And when they get the expert guidance, they've been kind of like just trying to power their way through and, YouTube it and Google it and figure it all out. But once they get that expert guidance, that they are now achieving their growth and sales goals, not only are they achieving results beyond what they expected, but they're doing it with ease and confidence. And I think here's the big key is, you don't have to struggle. Sometimes we get into this, I just have to work harder, right? And if I'm not working really hard, I don't deserve the success. And it's not true at all. The reason that they're getting the success is because they have the guidance that they need And it's because they are committed and they're coachable. Now, if you are thinking, I think this might be what I need, right? Or maybe you've been thinking for a while, I really think I need to get some help here and some guidance when it comes to like, what direction am I going and where is the bottleneck in all of my systems and why can't I reach that level of revenue that I really want? So if you'd like to explore if one-on-one coaching is what you need to increase your profits and your impact, then we invite you to book a call with us to see if working with us is the right fit. All this is it's a communication call, right? We just want to talk with you because we work with coaches, consultants, and service providers, and we can work with different business models. And we want to make sure that what we're providing and the program that we're providing is right for you. We don't have 15 programs. We have one. And it works really, really well. And it works for specific entrepreneurs. So if you'd like to explore and see if it is going to work for you, then we invite you to go to encoreempire.com/consult.
See you there.